Radio check, loud and clear, loud and clear. Thank you everyone for tuning in and welcome along here to the coverage in Montreal. The sun is shining and we are getting underway for qualifying in 30 minutes time. We've got a lot of action up ahead for us and we've had a fairly exciting 3 practice sessions. We've had 3 different drivers come in first position for the practice sessions and everything is a little bit up in the air. We have no idea who's going to be getting pole position. So, yeah, I'll run through it, give you guys a bit of a summary of what happened in free practice 1, free practice 2, free practice 3, and then we'll get into what my predictions are for quali, and then we'll see what happens. Shouldn't be too long before we get underway. So, quick summary of free practice 1. All of the drivers came out, they used the soft tyres. The conditions were pretty hot in free practice 1, track temperatures around 42, 45 degrees, and the drivers came out on the soft tyres. We've gone a step softer this year with the tyres. We're using the C6s, the C5s and the C4s. So last year's soft tyres are this year's medium tyres, and yeah, the soft tyres weren't coping that well in the hot conditions. Same thing can be said for today. The drivers did have to do pretty significant, like their cool down laps were very, very slow, and they were struggling with overheating on their flying laps. So yeah, essentially we had a lot of drivers struggling with the tyre wear in the hot conditions. However, free practice 2, the temperature falls because it's a little bit later in the day, and the same thing can be said for qualifying. It's a little bit later in the day, so temperatures should be lower. Yeah. As for anything exciting happening in FP1, we saw Franco Colapinto spin at turn number 2 a couple of times. We saw Hamilton spin at the chicane, and the big one was Charles Leclerc crashing at turn number 3. He crashed, he locked up, bounced off the barrier on the exit of turn number 3, and then bounced off the barrier and then went into the barrier at turn number 4 and damaged his car quite badly, so much so that he wasn't able to take part in free practice 2 because his car, they had to replace his chassis in his car. And then yeah, that was about it for FP1. Max Verstappen came first, and then we had Williams in second and third position. It was pretty good going, really. Max in first, I think Albon in second, or Sainz in third, or maybe the other way around for the 2 Williams drivers. But really good showing for the Williams team, and they look to have a lot of pace this weekend. Then we move on to free practice 2, where we had Lance Stroll crash on the exit of turn number 7. Just a bit of a big, he just got on the power too early, held his foot flat to the floor when he probably should have backed out a little bit, just getting too much understeer, and ended up out of free practice 2 after crashing and damaging the front left suspension of his car. And then in free practice 3, we had oh, and by the way, the driver that topped free practice 2 was Lando Norris. Oh wait, no, it wasn't. It was someone else. I forgot. How have I forgot? I literally commentated this like yesterday. Oh, it was Russell. Yeah. Russell topped free practice 2. Mercedes looked to have a lot of pace when the temperatures dropped. So yeah, the temperatures go down, and the advantage that McLaren have goes down as well, and that's why we're forecasting. The forecast says the temperatures are going down, and that means that McLaren's pace advantage is getting smaller, and it's going to be a pretty good battle for pole position. And then, of course, in free practice 3, we had Lando Norris topping the times, Charles Leclerc in second place, George Russell in third, all within a tenth and a half of each other. So a very close fight between those 3 drivers. That's what I'm expecting for pole position today. Lewis Hamilton was also looking pretty good in the past couple of weekends. He hasn't been that close to Charles Leclerc, but this weekend I think might be a turning point. Canada is definitely up there with Lewis Hamilton's best circuits. You've got to put Hungary there, you've got to put Silverstone there, and then I think Canada is another one of those circuits where Lewis Hamilton really excels, and it's gonna, they're gonna have a tough time trying to. Leclerc's gonna have a tough time trying to stay ahead of him. All right. Is the radio working now? Well, the radio message we'll find out in 25 minutes' time. There's no radio messages coming through. I've reset the system. I've restarted everything that I can. So hopefully it does work. Thanks for letting me know that it's 1 a.m. at your place. Yeah, I mean, depends. Yeah, obviously, we have people watching from all around the world. So yeah, time zones sometimes are good, sometimes they're not. All right. F1 Gamer, who is more likely to beat the others in a World Constructors' Championship this year, Ferrari or Williams? Ooh, that is a tough one. I mean, let's have a look at the standings. Can I get the standings up? Yeah, the standings for the teams. Well, currently up at the top, we've got McLaren in first place, Ferrari in second, 165, and Williams are not in the top three or in the top four. They're fifth, actually. So, yeah, I don't think Ferrari are going to probably keep that second place. Well, they're definitely not going to lose to Williams, but it's still very, very close in terms of the Constructors' Championship. The second, third, and fourth positions are all up in the air. We don't really know who is going to be scoring, who's going to be getting that second place spot. Okay. So, do you watch the 24 Hours of Le Mans? I did watch a little bit of it. I haven't watched all of it. Yeah, because I've been commentating Formula One as well. So, yeah. But if we look at the Constructors' Championship, for Williams, 54 points for them, so they're a little bit too far back. However, Constructors' Championship, Ferrari 165 points, Mercedes 159 points, and Red Bull 144. That's a gap of, 21 points between Red Bull and Ferrari in second and fourth place. So there is some really good potential for, Red Bull to end up in second, maybe Mercedes in second, maybe Ferrari in second. We'll just have to wait and see. Will Red Bull bring some upgrades that work? Will Ferrari just be... will Ferrari benefit from having the best driver lineup on the grid and be able to hold off the second place in the constructors, even though they may not have the second fastest car? Because, I think we can say with some pretty good certainty that if Antonelli was driving at a similar level to Valtteri Bottas, let's say, then Mercedes would be second place in the constructors. But, he's a rookie. He hasn't got as much experience, as much pace as another driver would. So he's ended up in... so Mercedes ending up in third place in the constructors as of now. Also, another thing that I'd like to point out, Nico Hulkenberg has scored 16 points so far this season, 16 points. And if we look at the number two drivers for, so the two Red Bull number two drivers, so Lawson for 2 races at the start of the season, he didn't score any points. And then Tsunoda has scored 10 points while being at Red Bull, I think, or maybe 8 points while he has been at Red Bull. But either way, Nico Hulkenberg in the Kick Sauber has outscored the Red Bull number 2 driver, which is pretty good going considering that Nico's in a Sauber, and that could probably be described as a green tractor, to be honest. It's not really all that quick. They did have a very good upgrade package last weekend. Maybe they'll be a little bit better this weekend, but Spain and Montreal are pretty different circuits. The Circuit Barcelona, Catalonia, and Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, different strengths, different weaknesses for the cars, and can't really guarantee that the Saubers will be so good. Okay. At F1 Gamer, how did you go from just watching F1 to streaming and commentating? Well, I watched F1 in 2018, and then this channel started in 2020. And I started it sort of doing like compilations of funny moments and stuff. And it took like quite a while to actually hit 1,000 subscribers. And then I came up with the idea of sort of streaming the data while the races were on. So I did that for a little bit, and I was doing no commentary. I was occasionally make the odd comment here or there, if there was like a crash or something like that. And then what happened? Some random person in the chat told me that I should commentate the race, like Crofty or like any of the commentators. And I tried it, and it went all right. And then I probably started doing it in 2021. and then since then, the channel has just been growing ridiculously. Yeah, that's about it really. I didn't really come up with a plan or anything like that. I just somehow it just happened. F1 Gamer, do you have any pets? No, I do not. Hulkenberg being robbed of driver of the day after driving a Sauber to P5 ahead of the Ferrari. Yeah, I mean, the driver of the day system has been a bit bad this year because what they've done is for the F1 Fantasy, they have it so that if a driver scores driver of the day, they'll get a couple points in F1 Fantasy. So anyone playing the F1 Fantasy like league game, they're not going to vote for whoever actually was driver of the day. They're just going to vote for whoever they have in their team. So that's why the driver of the day votes have been totally messed up this year. Right. Thumbs up, like as always, but today's F1 quali for obvious reasons is lost with the ongoing 24 hours of Le Mans. Yeah, I mean, I think a couple people will pause watching Le Mans, come over to watch quali, especially I think towards the end of Q3. You can miss out 10 minutes of Le Mans to watch some F1 quali for sure. A blink of an eye takes from 0.1 to 0.4 seconds, so a tenth of a second is literally in the blink of an eye. Indeed it is. And another crazy thing is, the drivers are going so quickly, so, once you're going at 200 miles an hour, 300 k's an hour, a blink of, just when you blink, that is literally 20, 30 meters of just darkness. Like, you cannot see what's going on for the next 20, 30 meters every single time you blink when you're driving a Formula 1 car. And if there was a helmet cam pointing towards the driver's eyes, you would see that these drivers are barely blinking at all. Just right at the start of straights, they'll blink a little bit. But apart from that, they are so laser focused. Their eyes are darting from one apex to the next braking zone, to the next exit, to the next corner, and all of the drivers around them checking their mirrors. Like, these drivers are, well, superhumans, as we already know. It's pretty incredible. Revise the previous track records. It'll be a good throwback to the iconic records on this track. I don't, unfortunately, I'd love to do that. I unfortunately just don't know all of the previous track records. I can run through actually all of the drivers that have crashed at this at the Wall of Champions. Let me just get that up. I had it saved somewhere. But essentially, the Wall of Champions was named, I think, after the 1999 Canadian Grand Prix, because I think we had like 5 world champions, or 5 people that would have been world champions, crashing at that wall in the race as well, which is kind of mind blowing, really. So I'll let's see. Jenson Button has crashed there in 2005. We had Damon Hill, Michael Schumacher, Jacques Villeneuve, and Ricardo Zonta all crashed in 1999 at the same corner. Who else? Jenson Button has crashed there. Seb Vettel has crashed. Who else? We've had a couple of other drivers. Carlos Sainz, K-Mag, Guan Yu Zhou have crashed, but of course none of those drivers have won an F1 world title. Alonso, Lewis, and Max Verstappen have all avoided actually crashing into the Wall of Champions, and Oscar Piastri is the latest driver to crash into the Wall of Champions. Just in the practice session earlier today, in free practice 3, Oscar Piastri clipped his rear right wheel into the barriers, got a puncture, and maybe that's a good omen, a lot of previous champions have crashed there and then gone on to win a championship, so maybe it is Piastri's year. I guess we'll see. All right. 15 minutes away now from the start of quali. So how many are going to qualify tonight? All 20 drivers are going to quali. No, quali hasn't started yet, as it says on the screen there. Quali starting in 15 minutes' time. Let me know what your predictions are, folks, but I'm predicting a very tight qualifying session. In fact, I think that between the top 5 drivers, we're only going to have a gap of 0.3 of a second. Top 5 drivers all within 0.3 of another. That is what I'm predicting for today's quali session. It's going to be extremely close. Piastri isn't looking at the same isn't looking like he's at the same level of dominance that he was in Spain. You know, that lap that he pulled out in Spain was huge. 0.2 of a second was the biggest qualifying gap that we've seen all season long. Before that lap, I think every other qualifying the gap between first position and second position in a quali session has been just under 1/10.5, or just under even 1/10 maybe. And Oscar Piastri pulled that out to 0.2 of a second to his teammate as well. So a very, very good lap indeed from Piastri last weekend. And we'll see if he can continue on in the good run. I mean, he's had win number 5 this season. If he gets one more win, folks, I think he will actually equal the total number of wins Charles Leclerc currently has. Yeah. Oh, give me a sec here, folks. I think the data's just having a quick refresh before we get underway. Yeah, the data's just refreshing. There we go. Fantastic. So we'll have the data up on the screen in about 40 seconds or so. The track qualifying record, Sebastian Vettel in 2019, a 1:10.240. I think, I don't know, it might be a little bit far to actually reach a 1:10.24. We could definitely dip into the 1 minute 10s. I don't know about a 1:10.24 though. That was a mega lap by Seb, and also that Ferrari was so good in a straight line, which really helped him out, of course. So we'll just have to wait and see if Lando Norris or maybe Charles Leclerc or Verstappen can get close to that. A Seb special for sure. Of course, the 2019 race in Canada wasn't the best for Seb Vettel after getting that 5-second time penalty, which he definitely should not have got. But obviously, I'm a Seb Vettel fan. I'm definitely going to say that. So, yeah, in fact, my wallpaper right now is Seb Vettel. So, yeah. Alright folks, I'll take you through a lap of the circuit. We'll do a little bit of a slow lap actually. I'll explain the details of this circuit. But yeah, you're coming through the final corner here. We'll get around to the final corner once again once we start this lap. But the main thing that you want to do here, coming down the start-finish straight, minimize the distance you travel and also brake in a straight line here. So you reach the braking zone, you want to be braking in a perfect straight line, no steering whatsoever, especially at the start of your braking zone. You're at 310 kilometers per hour at that point, and you just slam onto the brakes, brake in a straight line, downshift down to, I think, 3rd gear for this corner, hit this first apex nicely, and now you want to get onto the power. You want to shift the brakes, well, you want to shift the load forward, and you do that by getting onto the brakes very smoothly and transfer the weight onto the front of the car so you don't get understeer through this next part of the corner. You hit the apex, and then you drift out wide a little bit, and then continue drifting out wide, short shift to minimize your sort of wheel spin through this corner. Then now braking for this corner, you want to brake in a straight line, only tap the brakes. Well, you know, you give it a big spike of the brake pedal and then come off the brakes quite quickly, because you need as much traction as possible, or as much grip as possible, to actually rotate the car through this corner. And it's not a particularly big braking zone, so you're coming in at 70 that's in 7th gear. You only downshift down to 5th for the first apex, and then you're immediately back onto the power for the next corner. Hug the inside line for that corner, brake again in a straight line for this corner. And now the important thing, you can go over this curb. It's not too bad this year. We've seen a lot of drivers driving over this curb. And the next thing now is just to get a good run for the following corner, because you've got quite a lengthy straight after this, and you've got DRS as well, so it's very important to get a good run out of this corner, and you don't want to be getting onto the power too early like Stroll did, otherwise you're going to end up in the barriers on the left hand side. But you open the DRS as you head down towards the next right left chicane. You brake under the bridge, straight line braking once again, and the main thing here is, at this point, you are 100% on the power, and obviously when you go on the power in a Formula 1 car, the car sort of squats backwards, all of the load gets transferred backwards, you sort of start getting pushed back into your seat, but that makes the front of the car go a little bit light, and you tend to get quite a lot of understeer here, so it's very common to see the drivers get so close to the wall because they're understeering. And sometimes, you know, they'll clip the wall, sometimes they'll be millimeters away, but it's very tricky. This part of the circuit here, it's very easy to just lock your rears when you're coming into braking. We saw Hamilton do it a couple of times. You shift the brake bias forward to maximize the amount of braking force you can get, because you are braking in a straight line, so it doesn't really matter. You just brake in a straight line, probably push your brake balance forward to 58-60% on the front, and then you've got pretty small amount of load actually on the rear tires. So when you're doing your downshift, you've got to be careful. You can't downshift too early, otherwise you're going to lock the rears and then you're going to spin. And the other thing here, you don't want to run all the way to the wall here, because if you run all the way to the wall, then the track sort of tightens up, probably like 50 meters down the road, and that means you lose a bit of traction. So it's actually more optimal to avoid the wall altogether and to actually just straight line the exit and avoid turning in your traction phase. And then you go down just through this part of the circuit. The driver's trying to minimize the amount of bouncing that they get so they can run the car as low as possible. And now this is the main thing. So as you can see, you're braking down from 8th gear. You're reaching 330 Ks at this point, 330 kilometers per hour, 200 miles per hour. The drivers slam onto the brakes. You can take quite a bit of this first curb here. I actually miss it when I'm doing this quali lap, but you can take a lot of the first curb because you're not accelerating at this point. At this point, you're still on the brakes, you're still slowing down. So it doesn't matter if the car gets unsettled because you're not on the power. However, for the second apex, you should not be taking that much curb whatsoever, because at this point you're going to be onto the power. Like if you look at my telemetry, I'm just getting onto the power now, and if you're on the power and also bouncing over a curb, that's a recipe for spinning around. That's a recipe for flying into the Wall of Champions. And we saw Oscar Piastri get on the power a little bit too early. He got it into the Wall of Champions. Nico Hulkenberg was millimeters away, in fact. He did a 360 after bouncing over the curb and getting onto the throttle too early. So the drivers avoid the curb of the second apex and just, minimize the distance to come across the line. And that is a lap of the Montreal Grand Prix circuit, folks. So it's a very tricky circuit. And the one thing I didn't mention on this entire lap, but you have basically no margin for error. Like, for example, let's say in Spain, if you miss a braking zone or something, you've got quite a little bit of grass, then some gravel, and then some runoff area. Here in Canada, you've just got a barrier, like you go straight into the barrier, and then that's your front suspension damage, that's your rear, you got a puncture at the rear right or whatever. So the drivers do have to be very, very careful with that. A very unforgiving circuit. The rookies as well, they have never driven here before. Formula 2 doesn't race here, Formula 3 doesn't race here, so Bortoletto, Colapinto, Behrman, Antonelli, it's all their first time. Isaac Hadjar, Liam Lawson, it's all their first time at this circuit. And, they're slowly building up to things. We've seen some mistakes here and there. Isaac Hadjar had a little spin. Colapinto's had a few spins. Antonelli's had some snaps to the rear here and there, so all of the rookies getting to grips with this circuit. But they should be good to go now. 3 hours of practice, a lot of time in the simulator. Should be fantastic. Turn 1 you can mess up, and the hairpin is quite a bit of runoff. Yeah, you can. But a couple of, the middle sector, let's say, you don't have that much margin. Going on the exit turn number 6 and 7. You can miss the apex at turn 8 and you can go off onto the gravel, but at that point you could potentially get stuck, or you could just bring a lot of debris onto the circuit, or the dust and gravel. F1 Gamer, should they save soft tyres here? Absolutely not. The soft tyres aren't going to be the best race tyre. So the best strategy, well, it depends all on tyre temperature. That's not tyre temperature, track temperature. It's all up in the air and it's all dependent on that. So in fact, let me just get the information up for track temperature. Quali, there we go. Track temperature 44 degrees here, folks. McLaren might have a little bit more of an advantage than we, I don't know, but we, obviously, from a McLaren fan, you would have hoped they have an advantage. If not, but track temperature is still at 44 degrees. Yesterday, track temperature dipped down to 37 at the end of FP2. So, essentially what we're hoping for is slightly lower track temperatures if you want a close fight for pole. If the temperatures stay at 45 degrees, McLaren probably will have a sizable advantage. We'll wait and see, though. We'll wait and see. I don't know why it says Tsunoda has got a question mark next to his tyre and everyone else has got just purples. A little bit strange, but should be okay. Right. Yeah. Okay, folks. Also, if you guys are interested in watching Formula One for only $2 a month, then what you can do is you can get Surfshark VPN. They're using the link in the description. Then you can join an Austrian VPN server, and then you go onto Service TV. You go onto you download Surfshark VPN, you put it onto your computer, your phone, whatever. You connect to an Austrian VPN server. You go onto Google, you search Service TV. And then you make an account, you log in, you can watch Formula One for free. The only thing you have to pay for is Surfshark VPN. So if you guys are interested, go ahead, check that out. Very much would be appreciated. Oh my god, what have we got drivers queuing up at the end of the pit lane already? Unless this is a GPS glitch, we've got drivers queuing up at the end of the pit lane with 4 minutes to go. Interesting. I mean, they must really be worried about tyres overheating if they're queuing up with 4 minutes to go. Okay. Yeah. Oh, a couple other things to mention. Oh, the service VPN thing. The commentary is in German, so if you don't understand German, then you can always mute the commentary and listen to my commentary on top of it. But yeah, that's totally up to you. If you understand German, then it's perfect. If not, then yeah, you can mute it and listen to me. And if it doesn't work for whatever reason, you can always get a refund. So go ahead and check it out. Your like counter's not up to date. Oh yeah, I forgot to actually start counting. There we go. And we jump up to 500 likes. Fantastic. Thanks everyone for hitting the like button. Thanks everyone for subscribing. Hopefully we can hit 172k subs. I mean, the target was 172k. I forgot to update it actually. Let's see if that is possible. We've got 1,400 subscribers to gain. It's been done before. Maybe it'll be done again. Lewis Loy, thank you for joining the channel member. Very much is appreciated. Yeah, thanks for helping out the channel. Oh, there we go. Brilliant. We are getting the team radio messages. Fantastic. Brilliant, brilliant. Here we go then. So... Oh, they are waiting actually. Yeah, you can see Pierre. So we can't go brake ship 12 while we're waiting and all of these things. If you feel comfortable with two wheels, cool the tires, just like you said. So yeah, we've got drivers actually waiting at the end of the pit lane to cool down their tires so they can have cool tires at the start of their Q1 laps. The radio's been like 50-50 the past couple of races, if it works or not. Yeah, I don't know. It's just been a little bit inconsistent. It is what it is, though. I think it's all right. Sometimes it is pretty nice to have, but if not, it's not the end of the world. We can still commentate without it. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. By the way, we got 6,400 people tuned into live stream, which is fantastic. Wind has picked up a little bit here in Canada, 7.6 kilometers per hour. It hasn't really been too much of an issue for the drivers because the track is quite sheltered. It has got walls everywhere, a lot of trees here and there as well. So it's not too much of a concern. The wind doesn't get too high for the drivers to sort of start spinning around because of it. Yeah. Is it colder? Not really, not really. We're still at 45 degrees track temperature. The clouds, however, are a little bit, well, they're coming into view now. Oh wait, never mind. I think they were showing a previous replay or something of what's going on. Because currently the sun looks quite bright out in Montreal. And if anyone is watching the channel and is living in Montreal, be sure to let me know in the chat. How sunny is it? Are there any clouds in sight? Because yesterday there were some clouds, and that's what brought the temperature down. So if there's no clouds today, then I don't think that's going to happen. Okay. Also, folks, let's have a quick chat about the drivers championship here. We can see that Oscar Piastri 186 points, Lando Norris 176 points, so 10 points behind his teammate, and then we have got Max Verstappen with 137 points. He is 49 points back from Oscar Piastri. That is a huge margin. to try and close up. 49 points is, well, I mean, it's going to be a very tough ask. I mean, he's going to need some luck on his side. He's going to need some DNFs from McLaren if he's going to score that many points and chase Piastri down. But yeah, the timer goes to 0 now, and Q1 should be getting underway in a matter of seconds. Yeah, you can see the radio messages there. 10 seconds. What they say to Esteban Ocon, and there we go. Timer is ticking down, and the first drivers are exiting the grid. We've got the Williams of Carlos Sainz, first driver onto the track, and then we've got the second Williams of Alex Albon onto the circuit as well. All right. So here we go then. Behrman and Ocon out onto the circuit, then Colapinto, and then we'll have everyone else queuing out onto the circuit as well. Ooh, interesting. Colapinto's out on mediums. Okay, well, this is going to mix things up. Colapinto and Gasly out on mediums. So just to reiterate, folks, this year's medium tyres are last year's soft tyres. So with track temperatures staying at 45 degrees, the soft tyres are struggling with overheating issues, and Colapinto and Gasly are taking a risk here, and they're going to try and do a lap on the mediums to see if that's going to work out for them, if they're going to gain some pace from doing that. Yeah. So let's wait and see what happens there. Perfectly sunny out in Montreal. Fair enough. Well, thanks for the information, folks. Yeah, perfectly sunny. So it looks like there's no clouds coming out to block the sun, and the track will be staying at the temperature that it currently is. Nice and sunny, everyone weaving around, and we have got Carlos Sainz starting his flying lap. Let's wait and see what he can do then. He makes his way through turn number 2 here. Stroll's got to get out of the way. He's going to have a bit of traffic, but all of the drivers are going to be super duper wary of traffic otherwise. Or are they doing double warm-ups? I cannot tell. Oh no, they're not doing double warm-ups. Carlos has done a 21.5 in the first sector. That's reasonably quick. Yeah, so the drivers are going to be very wary about the traffic issue because, well, if they aren't wary about it, they'll get hit with a 5-place grid penalty or a 3-place grid penalty. How long is the circuit? It's around 4.5 kilometers. It's not too long, which means 20 cars is a pretty limited space, actually. And the drivers are going to have to be very wary of the traffic situation. Okay, Antonelli's out on mediums as well. Okay, does that mean George Russell's also going to be out on mediums? No, he's out on softs. All right, well, we'll see how it works out for Antonelli. Carlos Sainz, those are looking really good. That Williams is looking fantastic. This is one of the circuits that does suit them. At any sort of low downforce circuit, Williams are there. They are always able to deliver. And a 120.9 from him. So clearly a warm-up lap, actually. Because the lap times we're expecting are down in the 1 minute 12s. It looks like it sitting in the pits for 4 minutes probably did cool down the tyres a little bit too much. Albon does a 130.7, so yeah, he's even slower, and they're just warming up these tyres to go for a proper lap. We get a proper lap from Colapinto. Okay, so a 115.7 to start us out from Franco Colapinto. Pierre Gasly immediately goes 2 seconds quicker, a 113.7 from him. So pretty good going there from Pierre Gasly. And now George Russell's out on a fresh set of soft tyres, and it looks like this is a proper flying lap for George. He's going right up to the barriers here, looking very, very nice indeed. Braking just under the bridge there as he goes through turn number 8. And yeah, he makes his way towards the hairpin now. Purple in the middle sector as well. Fantastic from him. Tsunoda across the line, a 113.2, half a second quicker than Pierre Gasly. Nice job there from Tsunoda. Next up, Bortoletto, 5th place for him. Hulkenberg up in 4th as well, ahead of Carlos Sainz. But of course, everyone's still doing their warm-ups now. These are the real relevant lap times. Carlos Sainz, a 113.77. Lance Stroll, a 113.3. George Russell, this is everyone who's been waiting for. Purple in all three sectors, a 112.574. He goes 6/10 quicker than the competition. Incredible from George. And we'll see what his teammate Kimi Antonelli can do. He's on the medium tyres. The gap between the two drivers has been pretty much 4/10 of a second all weekend long. And here we are. 0.5 is the gap. Antonelli on the medium tyres goes within 0.5 of George Russell. What has happened there? Are the medium tyres quicker? Are the soft tyres quicker? Did Russell make a mistake? Did Antonelli put in a really good lap? Only Mercedes' data engineers are going to know. Hamilton makes a mistake at turn number 1. So did Oliver Behrman. Both of the English drivers, in fact, making mistakes at turn number 1, having to cut turn number 2 because they were just carrying too much speed. Hulkenberg across the line, 5th place for him. He improves again. We have got Alonso starting a flying lap. He's on a set of medium tyres. Okay, interesting. Alonso's on some mediums as well then. Bortoletto across the line, 3rd place for him. Still some pretty good pace from Bortoletto. And in fact goes quicker than Hulkenberg by 0.3 of a second. This man is improving at a rate of knots, and I think he's definitely the most underrated driver on the grid. Maybe I'm even going to put him as my rookie driver of the year. I mean, Isaac Hadjar has been doing fantastically, so has Kimi Antonelli, but Bortoletto has been beating Hulkenberg on occasion here and there. You've got to give him some credit for that. Okay, Verstappen's still the only driver in the pit lane. Tsunoda's also in the pits, but Verstappen yet to come out. I guess he's just waiting right till the end, saving as many sets of tyres as he possibly can. Does not want to have another blunder like he did in Spain, having only a set of hard tyres left for the end of the race when there's a safety car. Okay, we got Colapinto across the line, 3rd place for him, and he's on a set of mediums as well. Okay, so we've got 2 medium runners in the top 3. Gasly also sets a respectable lap time on a set of mediums up into 5th. We got Stroll purple in the 1st sector. How has he done that? I have no idea, but some great pace there from Lance Stroll. We got Lawson across the line into 6th. Alonso does a warm-up lap, 112 from him. Norris, 122 from Alonso. Norris a 112.6, and he's a 10th back from George Russell's times, and he's also slower than Kimi Antonelli. We've got Hamilton across the line in 16th, doesn't improve his lap time. Then we've got Oscar Piastri across the line, 1st position. Boom, great lap from Piastri, a 1/4 of a second ahead of Russell, 3.5 tenths ahead of his teammate. What a lap. The man has bounced back from his little mistake in FP3 and is here to deliver. We've got Stroll across the line into 2nd place. Alonso is purple in the 1st sector on a set of medium tyres. It looks like the medium tyres are the ones to be on. The thing is, the teams don't have enough of them. They will not be able to do the entirety of Q1, Q2, Q3 on medium tyres. They just simply don't have enough. Alonso, a full second up on Charles Leclerc's 1st sector time, or his previous best 1st sector time, and he's quickest in the 1st sector. Let's see, his middle sector was pretty good, not the fastest out of anyone, but regardless, across the line he comes. What's it going to be for Fernando Alonso? 3rd place. Fantastic. Yeah, and he's within 3 milliseconds of Lance Stroll. He's slower than Lance Stroll, bit of a surprise. Maybe Stroll put together a really good lap for his home race. I'm not sure. Are the mediums quicker or the softs quicker? Still a little bit up in the air. I have no idea, really. All right. I think what we'd really need to decide if the mediums are quicker or not, we need Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon, both of those drivers. If they come out, one on the mediums, one on the softs, then you'd be able to tell, because Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon are always so close to each other. Because sometimes you can't compare Stroll and Alonso because the pace difference is usually bigger than a 10th or 2 between the two drivers. So, Alex Albon, Carlos Sainz. If you could help us out, one of you go out on mediums and the other one out on softs, that'd be very helpful. Charles Leclerc, though, across the line into 2nd position. Brilliant. Top 3 different teams. And, one thing I'm going to say, Aston Martin look fantastic in Imola. Absolutely brilliant. They got both drivers into Q3. They had some really good pace. And Imola and Canada are very similar circuits. You've got a lot of medium speed corners. You've got quite a few lengthy straights here and there. Very narrow circuit. Not much margin for error. So they were pretty good in Imola, and the track surface, I think Imola and Canada have fairly similar sort of abrasiveness levels and stuff like that. Conditions are also fairly similar to what it was in Imola, so things are looking good for Aston Martin. Maybe this is the weekend they can score double points, and Alonso could have a shot at being in the top 5. Russell's middle sector is looking pretty good. Verstappen also looking particularly racy as he heads towards the Wall of Champions. Hamilton across the line, second place for him. Great job there by Lewis Hamilton, and he goes a 10th quicker than Charles Leclerc. Verstappen up into first place, half a 10th clear of Oscar Piastri. The top 3 within a 10th of a second, the top 4 within a 10th of a second. Incredible. 4 different teams, 4 different drivers, and we have got the gap less than a 10th of a second. This qualifying session, and we're in Q1, ladies and gentlemen. Q1, and the temperatures haven't even dropped that much. The McLarens are meant to get even slower when the temperature drops. Piastri has a bit of a mistake on one of his flying lap attempts. Really messed up turn number 1, carried way too much speed, and that was the end of that lap. But these drivers are pushing to the limit, and they're all within a 10th of a second. Yes, let's go. Okay. We'll see. The medium tyre is going to be the choice to go. Stroll has come out on mediums. Alonso has done a second lap. Alonso's in first position. Oh my goodness me. Well, I think that's enough then. I think that's enough. The medium tyres are the quickest, and Fernando Alonso is a god amongst men. How has he done that? I have no idea. The Aston Martin was so slow last weekend, and here they are in Montreal, in first position. I mean, stop the count, ladies and gentlemen. Stop the count. We've got 5 different cars now in the top 5. The gap between the top 5, just over a 10th of a second. Incredible. Liam Lawson across the line, 10th place for him. We got Tsunoda still down in 80. Actually, no. Tsunoda's just put himself up into 9th. Good job there from Yuki Tsunoda. And Fernando Alonso for pole position, ladies and gentlemen. Tsunoda's just got a pretty nice toe as well on the previous lap. 336 kilometers per hour through the speed trap there. So a little bit of a toe helping out Tsunoda to get a good final sector. And he managed to stick it up into 9th position. All right, we got Alex Albon. Williams are meant to be really good at this circuit. They're always good at high-speed circuits. They're down in 15th and 17th position. We've got 6 minutes left on the clock. And well, things are going to certainly get very, very mixed up. Are we going to see some of the front runners go out on medium tyres? Are we going to see them save the medium tyres for the end of Q3 when they really need them? What is the strategy choice here? Because Aston have already used up one set of medium tyres. They're going to have one more set to go through. When are they going to use them? Are they going to use them in Q2 to make sure they get it through into Q3? Or are they going to risk Q2 and go out on the softs and then use the mediums in Q3? Let's wait and see. Alex Albon, though, does not improve. He makes a pretty big mistake in the final sector, actually. And he's still in 17th position. Oh my god. Wait, what's he done? He's coming down the back straight, down the casino straight. Oh my god, his car just falls apart. Is that his engine cover or what has happened here? But there's huge debris on the circuit. Red flag is out. And the engine cover has just been ripped off Alex Albon's car. Yeah, and obviously he has no downforce or no grip. The engine cover's just fallen off. The Williams mechanics have got their head in their hands. Did any of these mechanics know? Did any of these mechanics do the repair job? Did they screw down the bolts correctly? Is that the reason for Alex Albon's engine cover just being torn apart? He will be able to drive back to the grid. They will be able to replace the engine cover if they have enough spare parts. But it looks, this carbon fiber is just flapping around like paper. Yeah, things not looking so good for the Williams team, and bit of a blow. This was expected to be a good weekend for them, and the entire car has just been, the entire rear of the car has just been ripped off. Well, not the bodywork has been ripped off. Also, folks, we've got 18,000 people watching the stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. Very much do appreciate everyone tuning in. And I hope to see you guys around for the race tomorrow. I mean, with the qualifying being so close, who knows what the race is going to be like. But a red flag for now. It's going to be probably a red flag for the next couple of minutes till they just pick up the debris, and then we'll get underway for qualifying once again. But now it's really up in the air. Is it going to be the medium tyres? Is it going to be the soft tyres? No, the timer gets paused, folks. The timer gets paused in qualifying. In practice sessions, it doesn't get paused, but in quali, it does. So we will still have 5 minutes and 30 seconds remaining of quali, and that's just one flying lap remaining, folks. Like, that's not going to be enough time. Maybe one warm-up lap and then a flying lap, but that's about it. All of the Williams mechanics now on Alex Albon's side of the grid. They're picking up all of their tools. They're getting ready to go to work and get this car repaired ASAP. They're not going to have long. They're going to have probably a margin of about 5 minutes to reassemble the bodywork. But these mechanics prepare for these kind of scenarios. So let's wait and see what will happen. Is it the Adrian Newey effect? You know, Adrian Newey has joined the team and he's gone up he's Adrian Newey's joined the team, and Aston Martin have just suddenly come out of nowhere with a really good upgrade package. I mean, this is one thing that I do want to mention here. Adrian Newey will have looked at the aerodynamics of the Aston Martin car, and by the way everyone talks about him, and by the track record that he has of designing Formula One cars, he can probably just do CFD in his brain, and he can just simulate all of the airflow in his head, and he'll be like, oh yeah, you should fix this, and I'll get to work on the 2026 car. I have a feeling Adrian Newey did come in, have a look at the 2025 car, change a couple of things up, and then got to work on the 2026 car. And that's why the Aston Martin upgrade package turned out to work wonders when they introduced it in Imola. All right, so here we are then, folks. If you guys are interested in watching the Formula One coverage for only $2 a month, what you can do is get Surfshark VPN. There's a link in the description for it. You get Surfshark VPN, you join an Austrian VPN server, you search Servers TV on Google, and you enjoy the Formula One coverage. The commentary is in German, so if that doesn't, if you're not German, then you can always mute the coverage. You can still watch all of the footage, and you can listen to my commentary instead. But yeah, there's a link in the description. We've got about 400 people using it currently on the channel, so it definitely does work. And for whatever reason, if it doesn't work for you, you can always get a refund. Also, just another thing to mention, it's been brought to my attention that someone has been stealing my content and posting it on TikTok. So, folks, if any of you listening to this coverage on TikTok, then the YouTube channel to watch is F1 Gamer. Very much be appreciated if you leave the TikTok stream and come over to watch on YouTube, because this is not my, whoever you're watching on TikTok is not actually broadcasting it. They're just reposting F1 Gamer on YouTube. So that would very much be appreciated. Come along and watch. And we've got a timer. Quali is restarting in 3 minutes time, folks. 3 minutes. Let me just stick a timer up on the screen. Yeah, not long now till we get underway for the session. All right, 2 minutes and 45 seconds. The debris has been cleared up. The DRS has been enabled, and we'll be getting ready to go racing. You can see all of these radio messages coming through. The drivers checking what is the plan now for the next couple of minutes. Are they going to go immediately? Yeah, we've already got a huge queue at the end of the pit lane. McLaren seem to be at the front or towards the front. Oh no, Ferrari at the front. Then we got the McLarens. What did Yuki do? Yuki, pretty good lap, really. Nothing else to mention. How much time left in Q1? 5 minutes and 30 seconds there. It's on the bottom left of the screen, just above the number of subscribers that we've got. Wasn't Stroll supposedly recovering from a wrist injury or something? What is he doing here? Stroll did recover from his wrist injury. The injury, I think, happened like a year ago or 2 years ago or something, and then it got worse. He got surgery done properly or something again, and it was a very short recovery period because the main damage that he had, the main injury that he had, was from like a year ago or something. So the recovery period wasn't too long, and he's good to go racing. And of course, it's his home Grand Prix. He would have wanted to race in front of his home fans. All right. Oh, a 10-place. Did Yuki get a 10-place grid penalty? Wait, let me check. Yuki got a penalty. Red flag infringement from FP3. Yeah, that he did actually get investigated for that. Yeah, he did. Oh, okay. I didn't actually see the outcome of the investigation. I thought normally they just investigate it and nothing happens, but this time something did. So Yuki Tsunoda handed a 10-place grid drop for the F1 Canadian Grand Prix after red flag infringement. Very, very unfortunate there for Yuki Tsunoda. He, I think, just didn't speed up during. He didn't slow down enough during the red flag, and that was the issue. So yeah. Oh, the problem that I'm having is the Formula One app is just not loading on my phone. It just keeps crashing. Oh, and as I say that, it doesn't crash. Okay, I mean, fantastic. It's like whenever you have a problem with like your computer or something, and you go to show your friend like who's gonna help you fix it, and suddenly it just starts working. Like incredible. But yeah, the F1 app has now worked, and yeah, Yuki Tsunoda 10 place grid penalty official. So even if he does start up, he's got to start up in Q3. Otherwise, he's going to be starting dead last. Q3 or dead last for Yuki Tsunoda. No, I've done clear cache. I've done force stop. I've done the normal stuff. I know how to mess around with Android phones. I've been doing it for quite a while, to be fair. But yeah, I had some issues on an iPhone earlier as well. But oh well. Anyway, qualifying is getting underway now, ladies and gentlemen. So the timer is ticked to 0 and DRS has been enabled. The track is clear. We should be getting pit lane. Yep, green light. Pit lane exit is open, and we have got the drivers making their way out onto the circuit. Oscar Piastri, first driver out onto the track. The penalty is for a red flag infringement. I think it was just driving too quickly in the red flag. I will double check. So there was debris on the track from Piastri brushing up on the wall, and following a steward's hearing, he got a 10-place grid penalty. Yeah, it doesn't say exactly in the news article, but I suspect it's just driving too quickly, or maybe making an overtake under the red flag. Because Behrman did the same thing in Monaco, and he got the same penalty. Behrman overtook a driver in the red flag conditions, maybe by mistake, maybe not. But then he got a 10-place grid penalty, and same thing for Tsunoda. At least they're being consistent here. Overtook Oscar under the red flag. There we go. Fair enough. Rules are rules, and as much as it might seem harsh, there's a reason. These all of these red flags and safety regulations, they're all written after drivers have had injuries, they've crashed, they've died. So these safety rules should be treated with very harsh penalties. I think that is fair enough. All right. New world record for someone saying, yeah, I actually did. I did actually download I can download the captions of my live stream once they've finished, and I downloaded the captions, and on average, I think I say the word like probably, I think it was once every minute or a couple of times, or maybe like 2 times every minute or something. So yeah, I do apologize, folks, but after all, I'm not a professional commentator. I'm just a random Formula One fan. So I hope to do my best, and I'll try and improve in the future. Okay. So we've got Lando Norris out on a flying lap. Purple in the first sector. Incredible. Oscar Piastri, he improves on his time. Oh, Gasly takes that away from Norris. Wow, really good first sector there from Gasly. And let's have a look. Everyone is out on fresh sets of softs, apart from Stroll and Alonso. They're still out on the mediums. Alonso's still improving on the medium tyres. The track temperature is still 43 degrees, so it's not like track conditions have got significantly better or anything. But yeah, somehow, still improving. Okay, Piastri improves on his previous lap, but Lando Norris goes even quicker, 1/10 of a second. You do have to take into account Norris is on fresh tyres, Piastri is on 6-lap-old soft tyres. So there's a little bit of margin for that, and I expect, if both drivers were on fresh tyres, the lap times would be pretty much identical. Charles Leclerc improves on 9-lap-old soft tyres. Hamilton goes quicker than Leclerc. Admittedly, Hamilton, again, he's on a fresh set of softs. So once you take into account that difference, the drivers will probably be setting a similar lap time. Gasly with a fantastic first sector, second and third sectors not so fantastic, 12th place for him, and we haven't got long left now in the session, 2 minutes and 4 seconds left. That might be enough time for maybe one more lap for some of the drivers, but the other drivers will probably be making their way towards the pits. So we have got Colapinto across the line, 6th place for him. Next up is Kimi Antonelli. He is starting a flying lap, actually, yeah. Okay, Stroll also, I think, starting a flying lap. Yeah, I mean, Papaya currently a McLaren 1-2, but we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what will happen. Of course, we haven't seen the true pace of everyone yet. Leclerc's on, 9-lap-old softs when he was doing his lap. Alonso's still up in 4th position. I mean, fantastic job from him. He improved on his previous lap. Really good going. The drivers are getting out of the way, and you can see there's a pretty big queue there. Some drivers will be getting tows as well. That's another thing to watch out for. Russell Purple in the middle sector. We'll keep an eye out on these top speeds as well. Who's getting a tow, who's not. But 1 minute left on the clock now. Sonoda heading towards the final corner. And yeah, Hadjar across the line, 5th place for him. Carlos Sainz is starting a flying lap. Sonoda across the line up into 9th. Is that going to be enough to make it through into Q2? Let's wait and see. George Russell across the line, 5th place for him. Good job. He's on a fresh set of softs. He's slower than Alonso, who was on medium tyres. It must have been a really good lap from Alonso. I mean, Alonso did it twice, actually. So maybe the medium tyres just are pure better. And the Mercedes are saving the medium tyres for the end of Q3. Who knows? But 20 seconds left on the clock now. Everyone now coming through to start their final set of flying laps. We're getting a load of first sectors coming through. And as you can see there, in the bottom half of the screen, a lot of green sectors. Bottom half of the timing screen, at least, a lot of green sectors. Purple first sector from Alonso. Alonso's gone purple in the first sector, and he's on 10-lap-old medium tyres. This man is unstoppable. Hulkenberg across the line, and up into 12th place for him. Ocon 14th. The Haas is not doing so great. This is the 200th race that the Haas team have entered in. It'll be great to see them hopefully make it through into Q2, maybe into Q3. Albon across the line, as expected, a great lap. The Williams did a fantastic repair job. Albon's car's out, and he's up into 6th position. Carlos Sainz, however, has not had the same luck. He's in 16th, he's in 17th. Carlos Sainz eliminated, while his teammate Alex Albon is up in 7th position. Leclerc improves up into 4th. Currently, the drop zone, Bortoleto, Sainz, Stroll, Lawson and Gasly. The only driver yet to cross the line is Pierre Gasly. He does not improve. He is eliminated. Alonso dives into the pits. He's already made it through, so there was no need. Verstappen improves up into 5th place. Fantastic job there from Verstappen. But Alonso, what would have happened if he completed that lap? Actually, did he make a mistake? Yeah, he did make a mistake in the middle sector. Fair enough. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the end of Q1, a very exciting and eventful Q1. We have got Bortoleto up in 16th, unfortunately getting eliminated. Sainz in 17th, surprise elimination for him. Stroll as well, with Alonso up in 6th. You would have expected Stroll to do a little bit better, but on home soil after coming back from an injury, 18th place for Lance Stroll. We've had Hadjar and Sainz being noted for impeding. Sainz is coming along into turn number 6, and Isaac Hadjar was blocking him, so that might be a grid penalty coming Isaac Hadjar's way. And yeah, the other drivers eliminated. Liam Lawson, unfortunate for him, especially with his teammate up in 9th position. Both drivers have never driven at this circuit before, and Isaac Hadjar is three tenths ahead of him. Wow. And then Gasly down in 20th position, unfortunate for him. And Colapinto out qualifying him by a pretty huge margin, 4 tenths of a second. Don't know what's going on with Gasly there. Typically, he's pretty consistent, pretty good. Another thing to point out here, what sort of determines a driver's skill very often is how quickly they can learn a new circuit, learn a new car, and get right up to speed. So I think if we get, there's a story, I think, from, it must have been, 20 years ago now. Schumacher was with Ferrari, and there was, I don't know who it was, the number 2 driver at Ferrari at the time, but they were doing some testing work for Ferrari in the new Formula 1 car for that year. And they were driving around the Fiorano circuit for ages and ages. And they were, slowly but surely they got up to speed, and they had set the best possible lap that they possibly could. After about 4 days of testing, Michael Schumacher gets in the car, and within the space of about 20 minutes sets a lap time that's better than the other driver. And now, it's obviously Michael Schumacher is a very good driver, but the other thing is the ability to get up to the speed that very, very quickly is a sign of a really good driver. So I think that's where I was going with Isaac Hadjar. Both drivers, Hadjar and Lawson, came into this weekend with no experience of the Montreal circuit. They have pretty similar levels of experience in the RB car, and they would have had similar times in the simulator. But Hadjar can come in and deliver these performances, just pretty much, offer much less practice than Lawson can. All right. We've got the quali time starting. Let me stick a timer up on the screen. Q2 starting in 3 minutes, folks. 3 minutes, not long now till we get underway for Q2. Let me change that. Q2. Oh. All right. Fantastic. I will also take you through a lap of the circuit while we are waiting. So you come down the start-finish straight here. You want to hit this first apex. You want to hit this, just carry as much speed through these two corners. And in fact, I'll do a little bit of a slow lap, explain everything in a little bit more detail. So braking in a straight line here, braking just at this sort of reference point. There's this piece of concrete that ends and the grass starts. That's when you want to be starting to hit the brakes. Shift down from 8th gear all the way to maybe 4th gear, 3rd gear, and now, this is turn number 2. It's a very, very long corner. We've seen drivers make mistakes here. Firstly, at turn number 1, by just carrying too much speed into turn number 1. So what they do, hit the brakes just a little bit too late, lock up a little bit, and then instead of hitting this apex, they'll just go straight on, cut turn number 2, and abort the lap because they're just carrying far too much speed. And then now you reach turn number 2, and what you want to do is hit the apex right at the start, then drift out wide while also short shifting the car to minimize the amount of wheel spin you got. So you drift out wide as much as you possibly can, and then short shift to minimize wheel spin, heading towards now turn number 3 and 4. You don't want to lock up here. It's very easy to lock up. We've seen Seb Vettel lock the rear of the car in 2019. We've seen Leclerc lock the front of the car here just this weekend. And what happens is that if you lock the car, you're very close to hitting barriers. As Charles Leclerc would know, you can hit the barrier on the left-hand side, you can hit the barrier on the right-hand side. Lots of opportunities to hit the barrier, so you've got to be very careful. Don't want to unsettle the car too much through these two chicanes. The curbs are a little bit violent, so you've got to stay off those as much as you can, but you've also got to drive over them as much as you can to gain as much lap time. So it's a difficult task, and these cars have to be set up in such a way that they can handle driving over these curbs. Then now turn number 6 and 7. You can drive over this first curb here. This second curb, you don't really want to touch because you're in a traction phase, and in the traction phase you don't want to unsettle the car, so you get onto the throttle as early as you possibly can, run out wide, don't crash into the wall like Stroll did, and then you now brake under the bridge for turn number 8 and 9. You make it through just fine here. Once again, you start to understeer a little bit because your tyres are overheating, especially if you're on the softs here. When track temperature's up at 43 degrees on the soft tyres, you will start having some overheating issues. The drivers have to be wary of the understeer that they could potentially get on the exit of turn number 9. Then now you head towards the hairpin. You shift the brake balance forward a little bit so you get a little bit more braking performance, and you just slam on the brakes in a straight line, and essentially the point is that you get a late apex just to get as best a possible exit as you can onto the main straight. Oh, sorry, not the main straight, the back straight, the casino straight as it's called. You open the DRS, you come down the straight here. Ideally you want to be getting a toe down this back straight. It'll gain you about a 1/10 and a half down the back straight, so we'll wait and see which drivers do get a toe, which drivers don't. And now again for this chicane, you can drive over the curb for the first apex because that's unsettling the car, but you're not on the power, so it's not an issue. Second apex, you want to stay away from the curb because you're getting on the power. You don't want to unsettle the car. I've done the exact opposite of what you should have done. I missed the first apex, drove over the second apex. You should do the opposite. And that is a lap of Montreal. Alright folks, that is Q2. We're just about to get underway. We've got a green light at the end of the pit lane. The tool that I use for the live radio chat is called Multiviewer. You do need to get F1 TV, so there's a link for that in the description as well. So if you guys want to check that out, then you can use F1 TV and you can use Multiviewer to get that. But yeah. Okay, so that is the end of Q2, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks everyone for sticking along in the little gap between Q1 and Q2. And we'll be getting underway for Q2 shortly. But folks, do let me know what you thought of this little bit more detailed lap than normal. Typically, I just do a pretty sort of a quick flying lap. I don't talk through every single little detail of the circuit. But if you prefer that, then do let me know. I thought I might as well do it. Given that we have 3 to 4 minutes in between quali sessions, I think that's a good amount of time to go through the track in detail. Alonso's on softs. Indeed, he is. Verstappen, though, out on mediums. So we'll wait and see how that works for him. Who is your rookie of the year at the moment? I've got to say Isaac Hadjar. Borsaletto's been doing good, but he's not been consistently beating Hulkenberg. And Isaac Hadjar has been delivering so much so that there is talks of him potentially going to Red Bull. He doesn't want to go to Red Bull. I don't think anyone who wishes well for Isaac Hadjar wants him to go to Red Bull, because that is a career-ending situation if he joins the Red Bull team now. But definitely Isaac Hadjar would be my rookie of the year. Well, rookie of the season so far. Maybe by the end of the year it'll change. Who knows? All right, I'm going to have a quick sip of water. I'll be back in just a sec, folks. Verstappen, though, purple in the first sector and 19.8 through the first sector. That is quicker than every single first sector we saw in Q1. So Verstappen going quicker on a set of medium tyres. Does indicate that the medium tyres are the quicker tyres. The question is now, do they have enough tyres left to make it through into Q3? That's why Alonso's out on softs now. He knows the medium tyres is better, but he doesn't have enough mediums to use it in Q2 and in Q3. So I think what he's going to do is use the softs in Q2, hope that he makes it through into Q3, and then in Q3 he'll use the mediums. But yeah, Max Verstappen 332 kilometers per hour as he is coming down the back straight, 200 miles per hour across the line, a 111.6. Absolutely smashes last year's pole time. This is the quickest lap that we've had all. I think it's the quickest lap that we've had all quali session, if I'm not mistaken. I wasn't really paying attention to lap times in Q1. I was just looking at the gaps, but a very good lap indeed. And Norris within 38 milliseconds, Piastri within 77. Let's go, folks. Let's go. The gap is within 1/10 of a second for the top 3 drivers again. Incredible. I mean, Canada is really delivering this year. We're going to have such good action. The grid is just so tight. You never know what's going to happen. Leclerc not having the particularly greatest lap. However, he is also on 13-lap-old soft tyres. Ferrari just not even bothering to go on a fresh set at the start of Q2. They're just saving it right for the end of Q2. Makes sense, I guess. Alonso, a 129 on his lap. So he's definitely doing a warm-up now. This is going to be his proper flying lap. Okay, we should get the radio messages coming through as well. Okay. Also, folks, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please be sure to do so. It really does help out the channel. Hopefully, we can hit 172k subs today. I mean, I think we will definitely be able to hit 171k subs. But let me know if you... let me know if you guys... Well, I don't know. I was going to say, let me know if you guys want to subscribe. You should probably just hit the subscribe button, and that will work. Is Franco permanent now? I don't really know. He's got to outperform. He's got to basically satisfy whatever Flavio Briatore wants, which we don't really know what he wants. Sometimes you would think that, he just wants him to beat Gasly. Maybe he wants him to come within 0.2 of Gasly. Like, there's no certain requirement. Or maybe it's been told to Colapinto. It hasn't been told to the public. But, it will be sort of an internal thing. And I guess we'll just find out when the press statement comes out. Is the radio stuck? I mean, folks, if the radio's stuck, the radio's stuck. I'm not going to be able to fix it. Refreshing it is not actually going to help because, I mean, I've messed around with the system long enough to know that refreshing isn't going to help. Hopefully it just restarts working. I think between Q2 and Q3, the system undergoes a sort of reset on the Formula One side, and that should help and fix some issues. How is Gasly out? Just a bad lap, really. I don't know where his pace went, but he just could not hook together a good lap. Okay. Verstappen on the previous lap, Verstappen has done 2 flying laps. He's within 6 milliseconds. Oh my God, Verstappen. He's done 2 flying laps and he's pushed as hard as he can on both of them. And he goes within 6 milliseconds of his best time. The consistency is insane. Yeah, incredible from Max Verstappen. And I suspect he's going to come into the pits now. But yeah, he had two laps worth of fuel in his car, so that's another thing to note. So he's still got a little bit more pace left in the tank, and the McLarens will also have some pace left in the tank as well. All right. Alonso's still up in 6th position, so he's looking really good, is Fernando Alonso, and he's out on those, well, he did a lap on a fresh set of softs, so he still comes out ahead of Tsunoda as well. Tsunoda just across the line into 7th place there. Leclerc's tyre age is 14. Yeah, Ferrari are just doing Ferrari things. I don't know how Leclerc, with 14-lap-old soft tyres, is only 3/10 back from Max Verstappen and Norris and Piastri. If Leclerc puts on a fresh set of softs, he's definitely going to be in the fight for pole position. We've currently got the Mercs on their flying lap, so let's see where they place. Are they going to split the McLarens? Are they going to come in at the top? Who knows? I have no idea. It's just so close that there's no way of knowing. We'll wait and see. I mean, the tiniest little mistake here and there could make the difference. Honestly, when the gap is down to like 38 milliseconds, like genuinely a difference between if the driver went to the toilet before or not before the qualifying session, or if they didn't go to the toilet before the qualifying session, can make a difference. Like that's how small the margins are, genuinely. George also comes across the line, 6th place for him, unfortunately, actually. He's on a couple lap old tyres, so his pace should improve a little bit, but he is 3/10 back. This is the thing, track temperature's up at 42 degrees. It's not suiting the Mercedes team. If it was down at 37, they would also be in the mix. But yeah, track conditions, unfortunately, for Mercedes, 43 degrees. I'm sure Toto Wolff won't be happy looking at the blue skies. He would much prefer the cloudy thunderstorms to cool down the circuit. All right, Yuki Tsunoda is in 9th position. If he makes it through into Q3, he's still got a 10-place grid penalty. 10-place grid penalty, which is going to be, tough. He's going to be starting probably right at the back, or either in 20th position or right at the back. Who knows? Team radio dysfunction again on other streams too. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. The system's broken. It's not sort of me refreshing it isn't going to help. So I do apologize, folks. Okay, we've got Charles Leclerc. What is he doing? He's starting a flying lap. Okay, he's on a fresh set of tyres. Charles Leclerc finally on a fresh set. He's got his battery charged up and will go with a flying lap with Charles Leclerc. Hits that first apex very nicely. Now, a lot of steering lock going through turn number 2, just keeping that car under control, dancing on the limit of grip as he upshifts and short shifts through the gears. Down the hill through turn number 3 and 4, gets so close to the barrier there, but there's just enough runoff to keep him away from the wall. He's 2/10 down on Verstappen's first sector time, and not a great start for Leclerc. However, the second sector and third sector, he can still gain a lot of time if his soft tyres aren't overheating too much. He goes through turns number 8 and 9. Car looking under control, looking pretty good for Charles Leclerc, kicking up a little bit of dust. Purple middle sector. He's a 10th back from Verstappen's time after he crosses the second sector line. So this could be it. If he can get a good final sector now, he's got no one ahead of him for a tow, unfortunately. But that Ferrari engine is roaring away 320 k's, 330 k's, and he tops out at 334 kilometers per hour before getting onto the brakes for the final chicane and makes it through very nicely indeed. Across the line he goes. What's it going to be for Charles Leclerc? First position. Great lap by Charles. It's yellow in the final sector and he's still up in first position. Wow, what a lap from Charles. 12 milliseconds is the gap, folks. Top 4 drivers within a 10th of a second. Again, we had the same in Q1. We have the same in Q2. Fantastic. Brilliant. All right. We got Albon out on the circuit as well. Currently in 15th position. He's on a flying lap. 2 green sectors on a fresh set of medium tyres. He's going to throw absolutely everything that he's got at this lap. Across the line he comes. What's it going to be? 7th place for Alex Albon. Great lap. Now, he's got another lap. You know, the mediums you can probably get away with 2 or even 3 laps on a set of medium tyres without them wearing out too much. So Albon has got probably one more attempt in him on those sets to hopefully make it through into Q3. Let's wait and see if it's possible. Oh, and the radios are working again. Fantastic. There we go. Brilliant. Very, very nice. Here we go then. 3 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock, folks. Who do you think is going to be getting pole position? Is it going to be Max Verstappen? Is it going to be Charles Leclerc or Norris or Piastri? We shall just have to wait and see. Everyone is cooking so hard. Indeed they are. Let's see what Colapinto's doing. Looks pretty good through the first sector, shifting up through the gears, heading towards turn number 8 and 9. He's had a couple of rear drifts here and there. That Alpine doesn't look the most stable. Typically they have to take off a little bit more downforce than all of the other teams because their engine isn't as powerful. But he is 2/10 up on Tsunoda's time, which is the cutoff as of right now. But Tsunoda's also going to be looking to improve. He's out on a fresh set of softs. And as you can see, the drivers that weren't so confident that they don't think they're going to make it through into Q3, what are they doing? They're coming out on a set of medium tyres because they know that the medium tyres are better, and they're just coming out on the mediums to ensure that they can make it through into Q3. We'll see if it works out for them or not. Colapinto, though, is out on a set of mediums. He comes across the line now. What's it going to be for Colapinto? Only 10th position. It is very, very close for him. Verstappen improves in the middle sector, purple in the middle sector. He's not going to get a toe off anyone, unfortunately, and it looks like Hulkenberg, actually. Hulkenberg is getting a toe off Hulkenberg's getting a toe off Russell, I think. Oh no, they're both on warm-up laps, never mind. But here comes Max Verstappen then out of the chicane. What's it going to be for him? 331 Ks through the speed trap, looking very good indeed, and across the line he comes. It is an aborted lap after making a mistake in the final chicane for Max Verstappen. Unfortunate there. And that could have been the lap that got him up into first position. Who knows? It doesn't really matter because it's Q2, not Q3, regardless. Why is Hulkenberg on softs, not mediums? I don't know. I mean, I think they should go out on the mediums. Surely, if you're not sure that you can make it through into Q3, then you go out on the mediums and you ensure that you start in the top 10. Otherwise, you're going to start down in 13th, 14th, 15th. Who knows? You know, I mean, I'm not a Formula One strategist, so we'll see where the medium tire runners end up. We'll see where the soft tire runners end up. 1 minute and 16 seconds left on the clock now. George Russell on a flying lap. He gets a little bit of a toe off a couple of drivers as he's coming down the casino straight out of the final corner now. Purple in the middle sector, looking really good across the line. First position, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have got the top 5 drivers within a tenth of a half of each other. Wow, top 4 drivers are from 4 different teams. Brilliant, absolutely sensational. And he's on a set of medium tyres as well as George Russell. All right, Yuki Tsunoda, he improves, only 9th place. Surely you should have sent out Yuki Tsunoda on a set of medium tyres. I mean, he's probably going to start in 20th position given he's got a 10-place penalty. But you might as well have tried Red Bull, surely, come on. We got Antonelli improves, 8th place for him. He's 4 tenths back from his teammate. To be expected. Antonelli's never driven at this circuit before. Russell has. And, well, we know Russell is a very, very quick driver indeed. Okay, we've got a couple more drivers on their flying laps, and Alonso currently in 99th place, at risk of being eliminated. Hadjar on a good lap, so is Ocon. Behrman, not so much. Okay, Albon comes across the line now, right at the end. 111.8, improves, not enough to gain any places though. Stays in 7th position. We have now got Esteban Ocon currently in 14th place. Across the line he comes. Only 14th for him. Does not improve by a big enough margin. And that is Esteban Ocon eliminated out of Q2. Isaac Hadjar improves up into 9th. Pushes Sonoda down into 11th. That is it. Sonoda's starting from 20th position tomorrow. Fernando Alonso across the line. He improves up into 6th position. Fantastic. However, the problem is he doesn't have a fresh set of mediums for the end of Q3. So we'll see how that plays out for him. Nico Hulkenberg, he's currently in 15th position. Only 13th for him. If he was out on the mediums, would he have had enough pace to make it through into Q3? Who knows? But I guess we never will. Bit unfortunate for Nico. And that is the end of Q2 here, ladies and gentlemen. We have got Sonoda eliminated, Colapinto eliminated, Hulkenberg eliminated, Behrman and Esteban Ocon. Both Hasses eliminated from Q2. Oh, Russell is getting a penalty apparently. Russell apparently overtook Yuki in the pit lane, and Yuki's just come over the radio saying, yeah, that's a penalty. Leclerc's just come over the radio saying, what? Oh my god, I'm not going to speak. Leclerc, I think, may have impeded someone by accident because his engineer didn't tell him over the radio. I mean, typical Ferrari behavior. I'm not even surprised at this point. So those two things will be investigated. Charles Leclerc might be investigated after the end of the session, and maybe we will also have George Russell investigated. I guess we'll see. Guess we shall see. Here we go then. Alright, I'll get a timer for when Q3 is starting, and nothing from the FIA as of yet, but I suspect it's going to be probably 53, I think, if I'm correct. I'm just going to start a timer because I think that's when quali is going to start. I don't have a concrete number from the FIA. Actually, never mind, it's even later. Q3 is starting in 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Folks, 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Alright, we've got 24,000 people tuned into live stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Folks, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. Very much would be appreciated. Hopefully we can make our way towards 5,000 likes. And also, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, that'd be fantastic. We're getting pretty close to 171k subs. And maybe we'll even get close to 172k, depending on how many of you are subscribed. Can you explain what the different sides mean on the radio? Oh, the different sides are just they're just normal radio messages. It just passes over. So you'll have these are the first a couple of radio messages, and then you just move on to the next ones. It's just so they stay on the screen a little bit longer. Because if I just had one column of the radio messages, they would still occupy the same amount of space, but they wouldn't. There'd just be a lot of wasted space essentially. There'd just be a lot of blank space. Like after this OK message, there's a bunch of blank space. So I've just got two columns to allow for the most team radio messages to be displayed up on the screen. All right. So that's about it then, folks. That is about it. F1 Gamer, can you hide the Q1 eliminations? Unfortunately, I can't hide the Q1 eliminations. I'll probably look into getting that sorted for next quali session. That's probably a good idea, actually. But for now, it's going to stay like this because I can't modify the setup while I'm streaming. But it's a good idea. So thanks for the idea. Okay, here we go then, ladies and gents. 3 minutes away. Who is going to be getting pole position? Who is it going to be? Why are the mediums better? Please explain. Because of overheating issues. That's mainly it. Track temperature is now down to 42 degrees still. It started at 44.7 and it's now down to 42.7. But essentially what happens is on over the course of a lap, the soft tires start to overheat too much, which means in the final corner and at the hairpin as well, you don't have as much grip as you would like. So what you can do instead is go out on the medium tires, which don't suffer from the same overheating issues, and you'll have enough grip for all of the corners. And the other thing is that this year's medium tires are the same soft tires that the drivers were using for quali last year. So yeah, essentially the medium tires are still pretty, they're pretty soft. They're still pretty grippy. It's not really an issue. Cardivelli, Cardivelli, thank you for joining the channel, member. Very much is appreciated. Yeah, thanks. What about the hards? The hards, I mean, the hards don't have enough grip. I think that's, there's a distinction. The medium tires do have enough grip. The hards don't. Like, the hards will suffer from less overheating than the mediums, but the mediums aren't suffering from overheating issues, so it's fine. Yuki's got a penalty because he overtook Piastri during a red flag. Oliver Behrman did the same thing in Monaco, got a 10-place grid penalty. Yuki Tsunoda did the same thing here in Montreal. He also got a 10-place grid penalty. Rules are rules, and they're safety rules for a reason. So it's a 10-place grid penalty. Unfortunate, but he made a mistake, so he's got to pay the penalty. Yeah, he's going to be starting from 20th place. Yeah. Alright then, folks, that is it. Q3 is going to get underway in 1 minute and 40 seconds. Are we going to see George Russell on pole, or Lando Norris, or Charles Leclerc, or Verstappen, or Piastri, or Fernando Alonso? Or maybe even Lewis Hamilton? Who knows? It is all up in the air. But Leclerc, though, is looking better than Hamilton. The first sector ever so slightly quicker. In the second and third sectors, he's gaining about a tenth on Hamilton in the second and third. So not great, really. And this is Hamilton's one of his best circuits. Alonso is saying that Canada's one of his best circuits. And Nico Rosberg was also saying the same thing. You've got to say Hungary, Silverstone, and Canada are probably three of Hamilton's strongest circuits. So if there's one race he's going to beat Charles Leclerc or out-qualify him, it's going to be this race. He's currently lined up first at the end of the pit lane, getting ready to go now. 48 seconds left on the clock till we get underway for Q3, ladies and gentlemen. Nico Rosberg, the GOAT. Yeah, Nico Rosberg, the Monaco-based Formula 1 YouTuber, very similar to me. I'm a UK-based Formula 1 YouTuber. Nico Rosberg, Monaco-based Formula 1 YouTuber. Pretty similar. Okay. Here we go then. 14 seconds left on the clock. I cannot wait for this Q3 session to start. I mean, it's just going to be so good. There's no telling who's going to get pole position. Verstappen has previously shown this season that he can hook up every single lap when it counts. He'll be there. Will it be Oscar Piastri? The man has got so many the man hasn't got so many pole positions, but he's got 5 race wins this season. He's won half of the races this season. This is round number 10, and Piastri's won 5 races. So will it be Oscar Piastri? Charles Leclerc is looking extremely good, and the Mercedes, will it be him? George Russell on a set of medium tires, potentially. Track temperatures have lowered a little bit, still not into the perfect window for Mercs. If it was down at 37 degrees, 5 degrees lower, then Mercedes would be so happy right now. But unfortunately, 42 degrees, it's going to make it a real tough fight for who's getting pole position. This is what Formula 1 should always be. We don't know who's getting pole position exactly. Cannot get any better than this. All right, let's have a see. Oh, Fernando Alonso, we have to do a fairly hard outlap like we've done before. So like energy's default at 7 and 9. Okay, so this is interesting. Fernando Alonso doing a hard outlap. What tyres is Alonso on? Alonso is on a set of soft tyres. So apparently the strategy, according to Alonso at least, is to do a hard outlap, get these tyres up into temperature, but they've obviously been sat out in the pits for a while as well. So that doesn't help. So the tyres have got cooled down. They do a hard outlap to warm them up, and then they go for a quali lap. Let's wait and see what happens. But also, yeah, there's no, if Yuki Tsunoda had managed to make it through into Q3, then they would have sent Tsunoda out to give Max Verstappen a tow down the back straight. That would have gained Verstappen a free 0.2 of a second, pretty much. But Tsunoda doesn't make it through, which throws a spanner into the works for the Red Bull team. They're not going to have a free 0.2 of a second. Just gifted to them by Yuki Tsunoda. So Max Verstappen's going to have to fight for every single 100th of a second now. Why is everyone on softs? Probably because they're saving the mediums for the final run. I think that makes sense. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe the track temperatures have dropped now. They're down to 42 degrees. Maybe the softs are slightly better now. RNR Plays, thanks for the donation. Very much is appreciated. Thanks for supporting the channel. Will Hadjar give Max a toe? Who knows? If he wants to get on the right side of Helmut Marko, then always give Max Verstappen a toe. That would work out nicely, wouldn't it? Let's wait and see, though. Fastest first sector, Oscar Piastri, a 1:9.95. The quickest that we've seen all weekend is Max Verstappen, a 1:19.8, actually. So still a tenth left to go. Alonso goes quicker than Piastri, in fact, in the first sector. We'll see what Verstappen can do once he starts his flying lap as well. Norris purple in the middle sector, 22.6. That's still 2 tenths back. Piastri, a 22.4. Fantastic. Leclerc, first driver across the line, a 1:17.7. All right, that's the benchmark there from the Ferrari driver. A fresh set of soft tyres for everyone that's coming out on the circuit, apart from Albon. Albon is out on a set of mediums. Norris, half a second back off Charles Leclerc. Not a great lap there from Lando Norris. Hamilton has done a warm-up lap. Now he's doing his push lap. Here comes Oscar Piastri. What's it going to be? First position, purple in the second and third sectors. He is half a second clear of Charles Leclerc. What a lap by Piastri. Last week he got 2 weekends ago in Spain. He got pole position by the biggest margin we had seen this season, by 2 tenths of a second. Is he going to repeat that feat? Is he going to go even bigger this weekend? Or is Max Verstappen going to come and stop him? Verstappen 2 tenths quicker in the first sector, half a tenth slower in the middle sector. He's just got the final corner left to go now. He deals with it very nicely. Across the line he comes. What's it going to be for Max? 25 milliseconds between Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri. Oh my, oh my, oh my. So close. All right. Norris has got some improvements to do. Albon starting his flying lap. Let's see what Hamilton can do. Okay, so Leclerc went out and did his lap immediately. Hamilton went out, did a warm-up, and then did his final flying, and then did his flying lap. So we'll compare and see what happens. Does it work out better for Hamilton? Doesn't look like it. He is a tenth slower than Leclerc. So maybe the better warm-up procedure is to just go flat out from the start, not do a warm-up, not do an extra warm-up lap. Who knows? Isaac Hadjar across the line, 6th place for him. He's on a used set of softs. Hamilton also is on a used set of softs, so you can't exactly compare that one. Lando Norris got a lap time deleted. Track limits at turn number 14. Turn number 14 there. It must have cut the curb too much, really, did Lando Norris, and that is his... That's his lap time deleted, folks. So we'll watch out for that one. Also, folks, just anyone that's interested, if you want to watch Formula 1 for $2 a month, what you can do is get Surfshark VPN. There's a link in the description. You join the Austrian VPN server after you download Surfshark VPN. Then you go onto Google, you search Service TV, and then you can watch Formula 1 for just $2 a month. We've got around 400 or so people watching it right now using this method, so it definitely does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you can always get a refund. The commentary's in German, so if you don't understand German, then you can just mute the commentary and listen to mine instead. But there's that. There's a link in the description to Surfshark VPN. The 2 Mercs set their lap times, 2 fresh sets of soft tyres, one for Russell, one for Antonelli. It's 3rd and 4th place for them. They are a quarter of a second back is Russell from Verstappen. Antonelli, 3 tenths of a second back. Ooh, let's see what Lando Norris can do now. He comes across the line, didn't have the best first lap, and this is, again, on a fresh set of tyres. It wasn't like he went back into the... It wasn't like he... Oh, no, he did actually go back into the pits. Oh, no, wait, what? How is he on... Oh, no, this is the same set. This is the same set that he started the lap on. So this is his second lap on these set of tyres, and he is... 4 tenths back from his teammate, or 3.5 tenths back from his teammates. 4 tenths off the back of Max Verstappen. Message to Piastri: DRS press was 2 meters too early. How much is that? A fraction of a blink? Yeah, I mean, 2 meters too early. I mean, maybe that would have gained him a little bit of time. But that, if he forgot to press the DRS just ever so slightly, a little bit too late or too early, then he would have lost a little bit of time, and that could have ended up with him getting pole position. Who knows, man? Who knows? It is super duper close. All right, I'm going to have a quick sip of water. Thanks, everyone, for subscribing. We've just hit 171k. Hopefully, we can go hit 172k as well. I mean, we've got 25,000 people watching, and YouTube tells me that 70% of you aren't subscribed. So I'm sure that some more of you could subscribe. It would very much help out the channel. And if you could hit the like button as well, that would very much be appreciated. But look at this. Fernando Alonso actually did have another set of mediums. Okay, so Alonso, right at the end of Q3 here, is he going to replicate what he did in Q1? Is he going to stick it on first position and pole position? Let's wait and see, folks. Let's wait and see. Four minutes, folks. Four minutes left on the clock. Alonso comes out on his own, and is he going to do a warm-up? Is he not? We'll wait and see. But he is out on the circuit on a set of mediums. We got Hamilton out on a fresh set of softs, and those are the only two drivers out on the circuit. Alonso pole, come on. Yeah, I mean, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see, folks. The Ferrari mechanics are just waiting now to send out Charles Leclerc. I think they're going to just send him out just after Lewis Hamilton comes across the start-finish line so they don't get in each other's way. Okay, let's have a look. Alonso, is he setting a flying lap? Indeed he is. 19.9 through the first sector. He's 2/10 down on Verstappen's first sector on that set of medium tyres. What can Lewis Hamilton do through the first sector? It's a 119.9 for him as well. Fernando Alonso on a medium, Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari on the softs. Identical first sector times, or pretty much identical. Here we go then. Alonso's middle sector looking good. 22 points, 22.6 pretty much. A little bit off the back of Piastri. I mean, fair enough, you know. Piastri is an absolute rocket ship, and so is Max Verstappen. Yeah, 10 teams read a 1,000-page long rule book. They build their own cars. You know, you got thousands of different parts in all of these teams, thousands of different parts in all of the engines, and you end up with gaps less than tenths of a second. I mean, it's incredible. And here we go, across the line for Fernando Alonso, 4th position. What a lap by Alonso. This, if he ends up in 4th, that's going to be the highest qualifying position Aston Martin has seen in the past couple of years. Incredible. Hamilton just pips Alonso, 5th place for him, but regardless, 5th place would be a fantastic starting position for Alonso. Brilliant. Here we go then. We've got the rest of the drivers coming out onto the grid. 2 minutes and 7 seconds left on the clock. Leclerc starting his flying lap. Hamilton, is he going to be able to give his teammate a tow? Surely, Ferrari. If Hamilton's on a slow lap, get him to give Charles Leclerc a tow at the right part of the circuit. That would really help him out, no? Leclerc's really in this one for pole as well. Hamilton's 3/10 back. Leclerc was 4/10 back on a used set of tyres. Okay, they're telling Lando not... Ooh, a little bit of stabbing of the front wheel. Oh, no, Leclerc. Oh, this was such a good lap. He was purple in the first sector, and then a couple of mistakes going through turn number 6 and 7. Had to back out of it. Oh, my God. There's a lap that could have been for Charles Leclerc. He was... and they were lining up the tow for him as well. Leclerc had to back out of it. This could have been the pole that he got. They've told Lando Norris not to push too hard on the brakes because he's braking a little bit too late. Very, very unlucky for Charles Leclerc. It is his own mistake, but he managed to keep it out the barriers at least. Now it's a four-way fight for pole position. Max Verstappen versus Piastri versus Russell versus Lando Norris. Let's wait and see. We've got Piastri first, then Norris, then Verstappen, then Russell, and then we've got Antonelli last. Here we go then. Oscar Piastri is looking good. His middle sector wasn't green, but his Max Verstappen's middle sector was. Oh, here comes Oscar Piastri then, out of the final corner, millimetres away from the walls of champion. Across the line he goes. He improves up into first position by 1/10 of a second. Here comes his teammate, Lando Norris. He didn't have a great middle sector either. Across the line comes Lando, currently in 7th position, and he stays in 7th position. Terrible qualifying for Lando Norris, and he's got a lot of work to do tomorrow. Max Verstappen, fantastic lap so far. Across the line, 61 milliseconds to get ahead of Oscar Piastri, and he does it. Max Verstappen is on provisional pole. Unless George Russell can do anything about it, he can. A tenth and a half is the gap between Russell and Verstappen. Russell's on pole position. What a lap! Incredible, 2 years in a row, back-to-back poles for George Russell at the Canadian Grand Prix. Verstappen's in second place again, and we've got Oscar Piastri in third place. Incredible performance from George Russell. Wow, what a lap. Leclerc also could have got pole position. I mean, look at that first sector. He was quicker than Verstappen in the first sector. Ooh. And Russell didn't even have a toe. Russell just doing his thing. Mr. Saturday himself strikes again, and he's on pole position here in Montreal. And you can see these radio messages. That was effing exhilarating. Wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you everyone for tuning in. We've got 27,000 people tuning into live stream, and as you can see, the top three are so close together. Russell versus Verstappen versus Piastri is going to be incredible in tomorrow's race, and the strategy has been thrown wide open by Pirelli as well. We might even have a two-stop race, so I look forward to seeing all of you guys for the stream tomorrow. I'm going to end the stream now. I'll take you over to the race stream. If you could hit the like button and the reminder button, that would very much be appreciated. But Leclerc came over the radio and he's complaining about traffic. He's saying dirty air caught him out on his lap, and maybe there was a little bit of dirty air, but he did also make a mistake. So unfortunate there for Charles Leclerc. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been qualifying. Incredible qualifying session, I've got to say, and the race tomorrow is probably going to be even better. So let's wait and see what happens. But it's been a pleasure commentating, you guys. Have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you are in the world. If you could hit the like button and the reminder button for the race stream tomorrow, it really helps out the YouTube algorithm and would very much be appreciated. But that is all from me, folks. I will see you in, I think, 22 hours time, or maybe even 20 hours time or something for the race tomorrow. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, and see you later, folks. Yeah, just the like button, the reminder button for tomorrow's stream, and if you're interested in Surfshark VPN, there's a link in the description. Bye-bye, folks.